I planned an amazing seaside trip for my girlfriend's birthday, but she chose her friends over me, and everything went downhill from there. I'm 28, she's 25, and we've been together for 8 months. She has a tight-knit group of girlfriends from school and doesn't make decisions without checking in with them. When we first met at a work event a year ago, I asked her out several times before she finally said yes. Turns out she was waiting for their approval. I thought that was a little odd, but since they clearly care about her, I didn't push it. A few weeks back, she told me she'd always dreamed of going to the seaside with her partner, but for one reason or another, it never happened. With her birthday coming up, I decided to make it happen. I planned everything down to the smallest detail, even booked a spa session. She had no idea. I wanted it to be a surprise. I was just as excited about the trip and really wanted to make it special. Then, a few days before her birthday, she sat me down and said she wanted to throw a party with her friends instead. Apparently, they'd been planning it for a while, and she promised we'd celebrate together some other time. I asked if they could reschedule, but she made it clear that this was her decision and hoped I wouldn't take it personally. But of course I did. It hurt that she didn't want to spend that day with me. I tried to convince her, but she got annoyed and said she wasn't going to change her plans. I just have to deal with it. I was upset and disappointed, so I ended up canceling the whole trip. Lost some money, but honestly, at that point, I didn't care. I was just angry and hurt that she'd rather be with her friends than me on her birthday. I get that they're important to her. I've never had a problem with her spending every weekend with them. But this time, I wanted her to choose me. Maybe that's selfish, but I just wanted one day where I came first. I never told her about the trip because I wanted it to be a surprise one she basically ruined by insisting on her party. Yesterday was her birthday, and sure enough, she had her party and seemed to have the time of her life. My friends thought the whole thing was a bit off too, but at that point, I was too upset to care. I spent the day trying not to think about it. Today she came over, acting like nothing happened. She seemed super cheerful, talking about how her friends got her drunk and how fun everything was, completely oblivious to how I was feeling. I almost cried at one point and had to excuse myself to the bathroom just to pull it together. I felt completely abandoned, but didn't know how to tell her without sounding insecure or needy. When I came back out, she was holding my phone and looking serious. She'd seen a cancellation message from the resort and asked why I canceled the trip. Instead of feeling bad, she looked mad. Trying to stay calm, I told her I canceled it the same day she told me she was choosing her friend. That's when she totally flipped out, started yelling at me for ruining her birthday, and called me immature for not telling her about the trip in the first place. She said I should have told her to try and convince her to come. I didn't get how this was suddenly my fault. I reminded her that I did ask her to spend the day with Mesh, refused, and even got angry about it. But she just got even more pissed, called me selfish and immature again, and accused me of ruining her special day on purpose. I told her if she'd just given me a chance, she would have seen the surprise I planned, but she made her choice, and now she's blaming me for it. I told her maybe it's time to grow up and stop acting like she's still in high school with her clique. She was already pretty upset, and after I said that, she called me a jerk and ran out of my place in tears. It's been 2 hours since she left. At first, I felt some relief for finally saying everything that had been bothering me, but now I just feel like a total asshole. I can't get the image of her crying out of my head, and no matter how much I try to reason with myself, I can't shake the feeling that I really did ruin her birthday. Even though logically, I know it's not on me. The truth is, I love her. A lot. And aside from that bit of childish stuff with her friends, she's pretty much perfect. I actually admire how loyal she is to her girl sit shows. She's a solid, trustworthy person. But sometimes, it really feels like she'd rather spend time with them than with me, and that stings. I think anyone in my shoes would feel the same. Still, maybe I went too far and hurt her feelings more than I realized. I honestly hate what I said and did. I thought getting it off my chest would help, but it didn't. Now I'm just stuck in this confused mess of emotions. Part of me wants to apologize and make things right, but the other part, I don't feel like I did anything wrong. She's always put her friends before me. Sure, they've known each other longer, but that doesn't make it hurt any less. I'm just really upset and have no idea what to do now. I'm panicking because if I don't figure it out fast, I might lose her. I really don't want that, but I also don't want to say sorry just for the sake of it. So here I am. Tell me, was I wrong to cancel the beach trip I had planned for her birthday after she told me she wanted to spend it with her friends instead of me? Now drop your take in the comments. And let's move to the update. Update number 1. It's been a whole day since the fight, and this is probably the longest we've ever gone without talking. It feels weird, but I'm not going to be the one to say sorry first if that's what she's waiting for. I've thought a lot about it, and honestly, I still don't think I did anything wrong. So no, I'm not apologizing. Pretty sure she's told her friends everything, because I just checked my socials and saw that a few of them blocked me. The rest are posting cryptic quotes and pics with her, like she deserves better. That bugs me. They're just hyping her up as the victim and making her feel even worse, when all of this is a result of her own decision. What blows my mind is how fake they are. Always acted nice to me when we hung out, and now suddenly I'm the villain? If they really cared about her, they'd tell her she was out of line and that my reaction was totally normal. But instead, they're just adding fuel to the fire. Honestly, it's gross. And to be real, I've always had this weird feeling about that group. There's 7 of them, and not one has had a relationship that lasted more than 3 months. I'm not judging it, just made me wonder why nothing ever sticks. I'm not the kind of guy to bounce at the first fight. I try to work through stuff before thinking about calling it quits. So their whole attitude feels off to me. Yeah, we've had small fights before, but we'd always patch things up quickly. And as far as I know, she never told her friends about them, probably because they'd immediately tell her to break up. That's just how they are. I don't want to lose her. I'm open to talking through everything, but if she decides to listen to them and leave me, well, that's on her. It'll hurt like hell, but at least I'll know I stayed true to myself. Update 2 from 3 days ago. Last time I posted, I talked about how I suspected some of my girlfriend's friends were the reason behind our breakup. Turns out, I was right. After our argument, we didn't talk for 3 days, and I was convinced things were over for good. I felt terrible and ended up taking the day off just to sit at home, sulk, and maybe watch something lighthearted to distract myself. Then, out of nowhere, the doorbell rang. I wasn't expecting anyone. When I opened the door, it was my girlfriend standing there with a bouquet and a box of my favorite chocolates. I literally froze. I had never experienced a girlfriend treating me like that before, and the gesture just completely caught me off guard. I let her in without saying anything because I honestly didn't know what to say. After a few awkward seconds, she blurted out that she was really sorry for everything and wanted us to be together again, if I still wanted that too. Before I could even respond, she started telling me what had happened after our fight.
Turns out she had a brunch planned with her friends that day and decided to go early to talk to them about our fight. Just like I suspected, they immediately lost it and started demanding she break up with me. They said they never liked me, made fun of my height and appearance, and one of them even suggested she go on a date with another guy just to make me jealous. That's when she realized just how messed up their advice was. To her surprise, the others supported the idea and even admitted they'd used the same tactic before it supposedly worked every time to get the guy to apologize first. She told them she didn't want to do something so manipulative, but they laughed at her and said she was too soft and naive, claiming that's why I treated her badly. This is her first serious adult relationship. Before me, she only had a 1-year high school relationship that ended when the guy cheated on her in college. She didn't date for a while because of trust issues, and her friends have always acted like no one was good enough for her. She had a few flings and dates, but nothing serious. She said she really wants to stay with me. Even though we've only been together for less than a year, she's already deeply attached to me and said that's not something she can just turn off. Watching her friends purposely post things to piss me off and mock the whole situation like it's a joke made her realize how toxic they are. She started asking herself the same question I did, why none of them can keep a relationship for more than a few months. That's when she finally understood they were the last people she should be taking relationship advice from. She told them that same day she wanted to fix things with me and apologize, but they tried to talk her out of it. They told her apologizing would make her look weak and set a bad precedent. She tried to explain that owning up to your mistakes isn't weakness, but they got mad and gave her an ultimatum: stay in their group or crawl back to me. Update 3, the latest one. I really thought my last post would be the end of it, but turns out her friends are even worse than I thought. 2 days ago, after we made up, my girlfriend posted a picture of us together on social media with a cute caption. Her ex-friend saw it immediately and bombarded her with calls and texts, accusing her of breaking girl code and calling her stupid and weak. They demanded she delete the photo or they'd cut her off. She told them she didn't care anymore and that they could do whatever they wanted. That made them even angrier, and they kicked her out of their group. I figured that would be the end of it, but nope. They started posting awful things about her online, calling her spineless and saying she has no self-respect. One of them even wrote that she deserves to be cheated on. They basically launched a full-blown hate campaign against her. She's blocked them all, but people keep forwarding her the posts and asking what's going on. It's really upsetting her, and I feel completely helpless. I offered to get my lawyer involved to put a stop to all of it, but she turned it down, saying legal action would only make things worse. Of course, I won't do anything without her say-so, but it hurts to see her going through this. Her ex-friends are genuinely awful people with zero compassion or moral compass. I can't believe they could do something like that to someone they were friends with just 2 days ago. It's disgusting. Update 4. My girlfriend finally stood up to her ex-friends. I'm beyond proud of her for defending herself and exposing what awful people they really are. Yesterday, those girls were still posting nasty things about her online. Even though she had blocked them, it really got to her. But today, she said she'd had enough. She told me she was going to make them regret every word they wrote and show everyone their true color-typical high school mean girls. She still had access to an old group chat where those friends constantly gossiped and trashed people behind their back seven, the ones they pretended to be close with. My girlfriend never took part in those chat she hates gossip. Most of the people they talked about were actually really nice and didn't deserve to be treated that way. So she took screenshots of their messages and posted them publicly, tagging all the people mentioned. The backlash was instant. Classmates turned on those girls fast. She even unblocked them just to see them squirm while trying to justify the things they said. Naturally, that made them furious. They added her to a group call and started threatening her, saying they'd ruin her life for turning against them. That's when I stepped in. I told them straight up that if they even think about coming after me or my girlfriend again, we'll get lawyers involved, and they better stop right now. They tried to argue, but I shut them down. I told them exactly what I thought of their childish, pathetic behavior. I called them a bunch of wannabe alpha girls who still rely on their parents and boyfriends for everything and told them to get a real job instead of bullying my girlfriend for attention. By then, some of them were crying, and others tried to insult my girlfriend, calling her a suck-up. But it didn't matter anymore. I hung up and blocked them all from her phone again. Now that it's all over, we've started planning our vacation again, bigger and better than anything we had in mind before. We earned this. Let me know what you think in the comments. Honestly, I still can't wrap my head around how she ever lasted in that group. It's obvious that behavior wasn't new. But I'm just glad she finally saw it for what it was and walked away. Now, on to the next story. Story 2. My husband wanted to name our daughter the female version of himself. After 1,800 hours of labor, I impulsively named her after our sweet nurse. My husband, 38, and I, 36, are expecting our first child, a beautiful baby girl, and we're thrilled. But naming her has unexpectedly become a problem. When we thought we were having a boy, it was easy. He'd be Stuart Jr., named after my husband. Fine by me. Classic name, meaningful to the family. But with a girl, that's where things got weird. My husband suggested, Stuarta. No, you're not hallucinating. That's the actual name he pitched. His logic? Stuart ends with a T, so just add an A and boom, female version. I tried explaining why this doesn't work. It sounds more like an IKEA chair than a person's name. Our daughter would have to explain that name her entire life. He wouldn't let it go. He said it was a way to honor him and give her a unique name. I offered alternative names that sound similar, names with similar meanings. I even suggested we start fresh, but he was stuck on Stuarta. I love my husband, and I get wanting to keep traditions alive, but I can't imagine saddling our daughter with a name that makes people raise their eyebrows. I'm worried it'll become a lifelong burden or lead to bullying. So, am I being unreasonable for refusing to agree to Stuarta? Is there a compromise I'm missing? Help a mom out. I need sane advice. Top comments. Choosing a name should be 2 yeses or 1 no. If either parent says no, the name's off the table. Personally, I'm not a fan of naming kids directly after parents. It invites constant comparison and can make it hard for the kid to have their own identity. A middle name works fine if you want to honor someone. Why is he so fixated on naming the baby after himself? That's a little sexist, considering the baby will likely have his last name too. You could compromise with a name that starts with the same letter like Stella, Sophie, or Serena. Stuart means guardian of the house. Maybe try names like Vesta or Stacy, though I get why you might not want to be a Stacy mom. Honestly, let him name the kid when he gives birth. Until then, remind him it's a joint decision. Also, maybe give the hospital staff a heads up. There are stories of dads or in-laws sneaking in the name they want on official documents without the mom's consent. Giving a child a name just to leave your mark is a fast track to weird family dynamics. Naming a human is serious. This kid will live 70 plus years with that name. Don't make her life harder with a name that sounds like a typo. Remind him he only gets one shot to pass his name on. If he burns it on Stewarda, that's it no junior if a boy comes later. Ask him how he'd feel if you wanted to name a son after your name, feminized. Then see how silly this whole idea sounds. Name decisions should make both parents happy even if that means giving up the one name you were most excited about. Update. Starting with the good news. We welcomed a beautiful, healthy baby girl into the world. She weighed 3.3 kilograms and already has a head full of thick, dark hair. Seriously, where did all that hair come from? The delivery felt more like a marathon than a sprint 18 hours of fun. The amazing nurses kept me going with ice packs and motivational pep talks. Now, for the not so great part, the name situation. Right before the pushing started, things got tense between me and Stuart. I guess the stress of labor got to him and he started rambling about family legacy while pacing around the room. Meanwhile, I was just trying to focus on my breathing. Then, suddenly, Bammy water broke so loud it made everyone jump, including Stuart. Shout out to our incredible nurse who calmly took charge and started prepping for delivery like a pro. Everything else became a blur of encouragement, chaos, and finally this perfect little baby girl with a mop of dark hair. And the moment she let out her first cry, I felt this overwhelming primal wave of love crash over me. All the drama about her name just disappeared. I looked at her, this tiny, flawless human, and knew she was never going to be a Sturda. So what name did we go with? In my post-birth haze, I blurted out the name of the amazing nurse who helped bring our daughter into the world, Ella. Not the most unique name, but in that moment, it felt perfect. Strong, kind, reliable, just like the woman who got us through it. Stuart, poor guy, just looked at me, then at our daughter, then back at me, and with a shaky laugh said, "All right, Ella it is." Thank you all for your support. Now we're diving into sleepless nights, endless diaper changes, and the wild journey that is parenting. Commentary. Never give your kid a name they'll have to explain for the rest of their life. That's not a legacy, it's just making life harder for them. Ella might not be groundbreaking, but it's never going to be a burden. Good call choosing that over something like Sturda. I knew a guy whose dad was named L, so he named the kids LX and LS. Eventually, their mom stepped in and gave the third kid a normal name. Can't even remember what it was, just that it was a huge step up. Honestly, I just want a name that shows up on toothbrushes or keychains. Stuart, if you want your name on something so bad name a planet, just don't make your kids suffer for it. That's all for now. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I truly think there's no one size fits all when it comes to names. You either go super original or keep it simple and easy to live with, like RPG character stats. Either route has its perks. But yeah, I'm definitely not naming my child Sturda or Gleba. Thanks for sticking around to the end. Check out our previous video right over here, and good luck out there.